See this screen, I hope?
Yeah, I see it now.
All right, great. So, greetings, Samantha LaDuc, founder of LaDucTrading.com. And I am setting up basically one trade that was for earnings that has concluded and one that is still in play. And I actually did a review of this and we posted it on YouTube. So I thought it might just be easier to play that recording, David, and let me know if you can hear the audio okay, but it's a quick one and I've even sped it up. So you'll see that before we got into earnings on Tesla, I set up a trade which was what's called a bull risk reversal, selling the $200 calls. And if you can see in this chart right here, there was kind of a logical reason for that. The 200-day is right here on this green. You can't see it because I've got a line over it, but yeah, you can kind of see. That's the 200-day. So I set up a bull risk reversal for clients into earnings saying, okay, wouldn't be surprised if Tesla pulls back at the 200-day. I'm not afraid to buy it there. I'm going to offset that and finance with a $250 call. So that was a bull risk reversal that I basically set up with clients prior to the earnings announcement, and then put together this warning that if we had stayed above 237, which was a monthly level, we could go all the way back up into this 271. We actually hit 273 and then reversed. This is how I look at markets. I look at the hour, the day, and the weekly side by side, and can basically determine kind of a chase, a swing, or a trend time frame. And for earnings, I was basically looking for this reversal. And I didn't expect it to get above 250 after earnings, if truth be told, on the day. On the day Thursday, it went all the way up to 262. But let me just kind of show you. Okay, this is, and hopefully you can hear this okay.
I have got a very positive read by bulls like Day and Niles, and I've got very negative read by forensic accountants who say, oh my God, they're hiding stuff. It doesn't matter. This was the one stock that I thought was going to move higher, and it did. So the position, really, if you were interested, and Tuesday we went over this, and Wednesday I went over this, selling the $200 puts because it was sitting here for quite a while, like literally 2 weeks. Selling the $200 puts, which was the 200-day, that wasn't such a hard one to pick, and then sell the 200 puts to finance the 250 calls. It also had a big order that came in on Tuesday before Hans and I met in Chase Live Huddle and went over a whole bunch of trades, including this one. So selling the 200 puts to buy the 250 calls for November expiry is going to do really well this morning. So it's a bull risk reversal. It's basically saying, okay, I'm not afraid of like owning this at 200. And long story short, the 200-day was the 200. So it's not really too tough to imagine if it had gone there, and no edge with earnings. But long story short, that's going to work out pretty well. So this is one of the reasons why the Qs is up pre-market, but big picture, we're just digesting. They're going to have some profit taking on Tesla. Come on. I mean, really, it's just expected. But look at this gorgeous potential Morningstar reversal. Potential. And so here's what I really need. I need this to close above 237. That was my target when we did that trade of the week. Remember? It went way above, came back in, formed an evening star reversal. I had 200 as a short, it extended below, popped up, tried. Okay, now it's above. It ran right back above 237. That's bullish. Below is bearish. It sat there for a week above all the moving averages that matter, and suggested selling the 200 puts, buying the 250 calls into earnings for a bullish risk reversal. November expiry. They're doing fine. You can obviously take one off, hold the other, but the point is this 237.40 is key to hold above. And then what would come next is basically the top of that candle. So again, I'm on a weekly time frame because that's what I'm focused on. That was the 250 call I was looking for. If again it failed, I saw the 200-day coming in as support. If it succeeded, I saw the 250 as resistance on a move higher. So they might do some profit taking, but big picture, I still see 250. Big picture, it needs to close above 237 to really get going again. So I'm not ruling out anything in regards to Tesla. Forget fundamentals right now. You got momentum and it's in play.
Always love to try.
Okay, so that was the setup that I shared with clients in my live trading room, because I run one every single day, and we set up chase, swing, trend trades across all asset classes, and hopefully that audio came through okay. The other trade was regards to NVIDIA. So NVIDIA has been one that I have been stalking since this reversal down here. And in specifics, I have a video that we also did after this day, which was 9/11. It was Jensen came out and started talking up the Blackwell. And basically there was a massive move higher. and it constituted a reversal in the market, actually. So if you take a look at SPX on 9/11, you've got this candle right here. See where we had just kind of weakened and folks were getting really bearish. And then we had 9/11, NVIDIA moved higher, and it has continued to move higher, right? So again, this is a day time frame, this is hour, this is week, and I'm using this as that swing target to put together an options trade on NVIDIA. So in this particular case, I will share how I played NVIDIA, and it is still open. It is still open. Nothing has changed. But first, let's take a look at the rationale of why I was bullish. And this was back on October 9th. I've got the right time frame here. Hold on. And hopefully you can hear that, David.
Yeah, I was able to hear it fine.
So here's the sell-off, 9:45, right into 10:45. What happened at 11? Jensen, 11, and this puppy went right up. 55% of this move is credited to NVIDIA. No joke, 55%. So NVIDIA had already, first and foremost, had a, let's go to the daily, that's important, and the weekly. Here's your 106.47 overshoot to the 50-week, and then it got back up. And I said, if we can get above, this is a bullish harami, we can get and stay above 106.48, we can move into 111, and then 116, and then 122 in time. So ironically, this was already set up for a move into 116.23. Yesterday, I saw and talked about the calls from Tuesday at the close, and then again, Wednesday morning, they were hammering with calls, specifically big positioning, which I really like to see, not just the zero DTE chasers or the weekly chasers. I saw the October 4th, I saw the January, they were getting really busy. So this is what happened. We literally had a nice little gap up to start the day. We did some back and fill, and then what happens at 11 o'clock? I'm going to show you because I think this is just ironic. So what happened? It came all the way back down, and then here's 11 o'clock. Remember, I was doing my intermarket review at 10:45, 11 o'clock, close the trading room. Jensen goes on TV on CNBC, and the rest is history. So NVIDIA moved sharply higher into that 116.53. Pre-market, we did hit this 118, which was my price target. It's still my price target, even if we're getting, tapped down a little bit pre-market. I still think we're going to absolutely go hit that. And the very fact that we get above this 118.31 means we're going to push into 121, 122. So this is still in play, even if we get a little shake and bake this morning. Remember, this 106.47 is weekly support and 115.82 is monthly. We use this really, really well, right? So this is part of that trade that I was just talking about with NVIDIA that started out a while ago. So we're talking September 11th, and then I let it kind of digest a while. You can see that scoop pattern right here, right? So I kept saying, okay, it has to hold, has to hold. Let's get up to the next level. It happened to be a 120 call wall. I track options activity very closely and what's going on with general market direction and with semis as a sector. And long story short, it had to get up and through this kind of daily trend line. It had to get through that 120 call wall. And then it was about October 7th, 8th time frame where I structured a very bullish play into end of year. Let's have a listen. And then you can see how it's doing right now. Hold on, it's at 7. From September 11th, NVIDIA at a price target, it was 106. It was a really, really strong day. And I wrote a market thoughts called The Market That NVIDIA Made, because it's advanced that morning from a Jensen CNBC interview, basically on Blackwell, extraordinary demand, that stock turned, went higher and led the entire market. And on that day, it was very telling. Not only did it really, it was the biggest advancer, but it made up 55%, right, of the movement of the market. So it was a really, really big tell that strength was on its way. Anyway, we hit that 25 area, 27 area, then we pulled back, and then we have since then, I forget what the level was it pulled back to that I said it had to stay above. When it was 106, it was moving higher. I said we needed to stay above 114. We moved into that 127 area, came back down. I said I needed to stay above 116. And then this is the day that NVIDIA made, okay? And then we moved higher to that trend line perfectly. And then we pulled back, but we held the 116. And then I gave a price target of 136. So far that's working. And you can see the advance. This is the second. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's bid pre-market. So we've had 5 days of strength in NVIDIA. That has corresponded pretty well with the rest of the stuff that I talked about, meaning bonds are coming back. That was pre-market September 18th. And then all the bond proxies, XLP, XLV, et cetera, et cetera. XLU was the one resistant party. Anyway, it is very much bond proxies and bonds came down. They haven't perfectly based yet to turn higher, so it's way early, but they definitely came down to target, which is exactly what I wanted to see first. Now they have to base before we can kind of bid them back up. And I don't think it's gonna happen right away because the sector rotation that is in place is growth. So we already hit my 56.58 price target, 57.50, which was for September 30th, and I still have 58.20 and 60.10. So we've had no dip in the market for October, and in large part, we've also had, as I mentioned, QE last week, 225 billion under the surface with RRP and TGA. So that helped while the market was very unsteady ahead of new headline for oil moving higher, yields moving higher, and Middle East conflict. So this support also that I gave in the Qs, 465. Anyway, this is all the stuff that I posted since September 11th, again on the 18th, and just thought it was worth going over again because NVIDIA is approaching its price target of that 136. And here's my thing. I still think that this is in play. Semis, great. It's moved really well, $30 from that September call. And now that we're in October, 1 month later, I still see 270 and 272 and change in play. And NVIDIA looks very much like it could be headed up into this 150 area. And I found a level yesterday, but I have to find it again. Obviously, the high was 140. If you recall, during this big advance, I threw a fib up here and I said, it wouldn't surprise me if it stops at this 138. And man, that really worked. It actually hit an intraday high of this 140.76. We caught that intraday because it also kind of rolled over perfectly above and then below it. Anyway, long story short, intraday was a fabulous short. It was a fabulous long into that fib target, and it has been really predictable. Remember, I had this pullback to 98, 96 area, and it overshot on August 5th, went way all the way down to 90, but the point is that's still really solid support. Anyway, point is this has been technically pretty predictable. It's been pretty good. So now that it is above this trend line and it is 5 days of strength, I expect some weakness into the end of the week. It probably stays here. Maybe next week we even come back down and test this 125, but I don't think it's going to break the 125. So remember when we started up here, I was like, don't let it come down below that, the 114 area. Don't let it fall below the 116 area. Well, now it's don't let it fall below the, let's call it 120, 125 area. So I think NVIDIA is going to stay supported above.
All right, so that was basically my argument pre-market when I set this up, and this is what I posted for clients. This is an open trade because it's December, right? So again, I really liked kind of more financed option tactics where you are selling some in order to buy others. And in particular, since I have an end of year, and I specifically how I'm playing NVIDIA into end of year, bullish bet, I wanted to be able to give some time to the option tactic. I wanted to be able to give lots of room should we get some, like election wobble or we just grind sideways. So my tactic was sell the 115 puts, which is great support at the 100-day. Really strong support at 113, but I happen to like the 115 strike best, and then buy an upside call spread of 136 by 148. Now I picked the 135 before it got there because I was really expecting 136 to tag, digest, and then move higher. So this was put on for scratch, and right now it's a little under $4. So from, 0 or a dime into $4 is a really decent return. Obviously, I'm bullish, but I've given myself flexibility so that I know where to defend. Right now, it used to be that 116 line that I moved it up to 126 line. So you can see how this, as it moves higher, then support also moves higher with it, right? So 116 used to be, you need to defend there. 125, I talked about that a lot in the video back here. Now that we're firmly above, it's now like 136, 135 is where to defend should it get a little bit funky. So anyway, that's just an example of setting up an option trade since I'm an equities, options on equities trader for sectors, indices, and primarily stocks. And those are two examples, Tesla earnings and an open NVIDIA year-end financed call spread. So that was it on the two trades. I've got more. We actually have a whole team. So there is a bit of let's just say beef here. There's a whole big team. In addition to me, I happen to lead this macro to micro financial research firm. I have a macroeconomics advisor and trader. I've got a client termed contributor, Dr. Alexander, who does a biopharma analysis, bar none. Oh my God, he's outstanding. Archana's worked with me for years. Most of these folks used to be clients. She's just amazing, advanced options trader. Bob is just oil. Mike does futures. Nell runs our chat room with Archna. When I close my live trading room, they take over and answer clients' questions. Hans, you'll see him referred in the YouTube video because he is our options mentor and used to be a market maker, also used to run portfolios and put on their overlay strategies as well as hedges. This is our thing, and we are really specialized. Rithika has momentum focus. She runs our Chase portfolio, also a live trading room moderator. Tiffany is focused on gamma, which is gamma squeezes for options. Think momentum. Anyway, this is my team I've worked with for years. It's beyond just myself, and that's just a little bit of how I look at the market, which is market timing, very much focused on macro trends, all assets, Chase, swing, and trend time frame. But I definitely use a backdrop of macro, and macro really didn't play any part in those two setups that I just gave you in Tesla that completed, and NVIDIA, which is halfway there. They were a combination of basically momentum in the market is bullish. We don't have a macro trigger to turn it bearish. We got a whole bunch in the next 2 weeks, but you know, that's an intense earnings period, election period, Treasury refinancing, refunding agreement, FOMC. We got tons in the next 2 weeks, but we also have a very bullish backdrop as it relates to the potential of market moving strongly higher after all the event risk has been kind of removed from the market. So I still remain predominantly bullish. And for those who want to get many more trades than just what we're going to go over next, which is any questions that you have, James, our director of marketing, said if you are interested in any of our programs, Chase, Club, or Edge, then we are offering a Synergy 20 coupon. All right, so I want to open this up to Q&A. If you have anything you want me to size up, then just kind of hit me up. And then please tell me, what time frame are you looking at? Okay. So is this one for me? The MNMD? That I do not know. Is it my medicine? Oh, because of an RFK potential? RFK, if Trump wins, would come in and make America healthy again. I don't know if that has to do with psychedelics. So I'm not really up to speed on this, but I can tell you because it doesn't have a lot of options, it is not going to be so exciting for me. It's more expensive to play. So I'd need to know, like, what's your time frame, please, if you ask. Microsoft has earnings. This is a big deal, right? So bigger picture, this has been in sideways consolidation for the most part this year. We definitely have lots of questions on the minds of earning investors, which is, you know, how big is AI really, or has that already been pulled forward? This is an earnings bet into 10:30 after hours, which is very hard to do for earnings. So big picture, Mag 7 is in distribution. Mag 7 is Magnificent 7. But big picture, this is going sideways. It's still a strong moat, but I'm not expecting outperformance, except semis are going to be moving higher. I have a price target still this year of 272 and change. So I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft also moves higher after earnings tomorrow, but I really don't have a particular edge on this. I want to get through earnings and basically the next 2 weeks. Uber, again, I need to know time frame. I should have asked that. Uber is very bullish. It's one of those, you kind of got to believe it or not. It became profitable back here at 31. It gapped above. That's that red line, which is massively bullish. It became profitable actually on that print for the first time. It is one where it had a God candle August 5th, that reflexive bounce, massive move higher, lots and lots of chop. In fact, I tried to play it looking for a trigger higher back here and it got rejected into the July swoon. It has been very nicely positioned above. This is the 10-week, which I love for trend trading. And it has earnings, unfortunately, Thursday after market hours. It's really tough to have an edge. But big picture, it's a very strong looking trend if it can hold above this kind of 74 area. It wouldn't surprise me with earnings to have some shake and bake But big picture, it does look good. I would just love to know what your time frame is, because then I could get you a much like cleaner answer. In other words, I do this for clients. If they say, I want to chase Uber, I'm like, okay, well then keep it above 78.60. You want a price target, and I will, do that, but I need to know the time frame. This I just happen to know is earnings play, and lots of folks own it. SCSC, the heck is it? ScanSource, not familiar with it. Nope. It's in a good sector right now, electronics, computer distribution. It's come back down to the 200-day, but it's way too thin. I don't know enough about it. For gold and silver, oh my goodness. Okay, gold and silver is a big, big, big theme of mine, but I have to tell you, I've got big warnings into the next 2 weeks. And I mean, there has been nothing that this puppy has done wrong. I'm going to show you my intermarket chart that I showed clients and also publicly, which was right back here. This is a ratio on a monthly. So I'm an intermarket analyst. This is actually part of my secret sauce, at least in my firm belief, when I'm doing sector rotation. This is really, really my core strength, is sector rotation. And then I can play that really well with individual stocks and market direction. But this is a silver gold ratio. And basically back here, we had November 1st, Fed pause, Yellen Yahtzee in 2023, which is monetary easing, and gold, silver, love loose monetary policy. It tried to get above, and then March 1st. Remember what happened with March 1st? Market started screaming higher and then came to a full stop when gold gapped up and started running. So this is gold, and then silver joined in April. Gold leads. Anyway, look how extended this is. We've taken out the 2011 high in this ratio. So wicked bullish, but, and there's nothing wrong with the charts. If I take a look at your gold and silver, and I don't know if you're referring to gold and silver futures or you're referring to GLD and SLV, but they are still beautiful trends. Like absolutely nothing wrong with this at all. This is the gap up, by the way, on a weekly. This is literally March 1st. Boom. It's the most beautiful bullish chart, really. Consolidation, boom. Now, gold and silver, although moving higher on a trend time frame and even swing, silver is SLV. I don't know if you follow the silver futures, it hit 35 and then came back, right? But right now it is hovering right underneath a fib level, which is 78.6 fib level, about 31.5. Just talked with a client about this because we have lots of macro event risk in the next 2 weeks. We have Janet Yellen's quarterly refunding announcement tomorrow morning, which could move bonds higher and yields lower. Why does that matter? Because the dollar and yields, US yields right now, have been positively correlated with gold and silver. The result is that gold and silver, or let's talk gold in particular, on this dollar and yield strength have actually been extremely strong in yen terms. Gold is very all-time highs in yuan, which is the Chinese currency, or in euros. So gold is right now getting priced in FX, which is other G7, G20 currencies. And that's one of the reasons it's moving higher. So if we do have some support for bonds, yields come back down, dollar gets a little shake and bake, then believe it or not, because gold and silver are positively correlated right now with dollar and yields, they could also have some shake and bake. But technically, they've done nothing wrong. They've gotten extended from the mean. The mean is always going to be the 10-week for me. Just put that on your 10-week EMA on a weekly chart and stay long and strong. Same thing with silver, even though it's a little bit more choppy. And then the other macro trigger is the election. And honestly, this is way out there, but it's not political. It just means that eventually when we get an announcement, right, it probably will not be on the 5th because of contentious, election kind of outcome thing. It's going to be a thing. There could be a thing where the likelihood, if Trump does win, that there could be armistice in Ukraine, and some of that geopolitical risk is pulled out of the gold and silver trade. So you have, though that's a second reason. The third is this week, we also have jobless claims Thursday morning. We also have non-farm payrolls Friday morning. So if we have, and we're expected to have some weakness in the unemployment numbers, that will be seen as I know it's all temporary because of the hurricanes, but it will be seen as a knee-jerk reaction, lower in dollar and yields because of potential economic growth slowdown, which can also trigger short gold and silver. So again, there's nothing bearish in the charts. There's nothing bearish in the bullish option flow, but there are 3 distinct macro risk triggers dead ahead for gold and silver. So protect in the next 2 weeks would be my advice. Meta is one that Hans has put on a brilliant options trade for 1030, and I'm going to refer to him on that, but he is bullish. Yep, but he's structured it in such a way where even if it comes all the way back down to 540, I think it is, he's in good shape. So those are option tactics that we set up for clients or that we recommend for ourselves. All right, I didn't get that. Burl through January. Burl, as in Burlington Coat Factory? Oh, all right. So Burl is a retailer that they're not doing so great this moment, right? Like Crocs just got its head handed to it. So there's definitely some weakness in the retail space into the holidays, but it has not broken definitively. It's got earnings on 11/19. I don't really have an edge with Burl. Nope, I don't. It really doesn't. It looks like it wants to come and retest that 232, so I would be careful on that. Any other questions you want me to go through? I know I kind of went through quickly, but I've got a few others if you want to look. Merck is still a short, and it's moving itself into that, this orange is the 200 week. This has been a reversal. There's our Alexander, who is Kenton's corner of biopharma, is bullish on some competing cancer drugs, which is bearish for Merck. Novo, which would also be hit under Trump presidency if RFK gets in power and wants to limit some of these. This is a Dutch company. It's the largest, actually. It is a weight loss player of size, but it has also been coming over in a Head and Shoulders. So those are 2 shorts to kind of offset what happened in Tesla, which was very bullish, and NVIDIA, which I still think continues to be bullish. And then, of course, I can be found on Twitter at Samantha LaDuc. And I would say you can definitely check us out at LaDucTrading.com. Remember, we've got that Synergy 20 flash sale for today only. And you can come and engage with my whole team, and they are outstanding and very client dedicated. If you want more or to follow, SamanthaLaDuc.com is also a Substack. It's also at Samantha LaDuc for Twitter, and LaDucTrading.com for our financial research firm. I wish you all a fabulous rest of your afternoon. And yes, long-term gold and silver, 1 year. I hate doing 1 year. But yes, I mean, it depends if we get peace. If we do get peace, then there is going to be a pullback. If we do get fiscal spending under control, there will definitely be a pullback in gold and silver. So much of that is going to be dictated by policy. And right now, the reasons that gold and silver have run into the hot sun have been macro and more macro. So China selling dollars to buy gold in yuan. That is a absolute, an FX macro trade. That's not gonna stop. They're getting rid of treasuries, US treasuries. They're exiting out of petrodollar. They demand less oil because they've transitioned into EV. They're going to be buying more gold. But if we do get control of the US fiscal deficit, if we do get peace, it will hurt gold's ascent. So hope that helps.